So talking about clipping paths will allow you to cut out objects very sharply without having any grainy edges or fuzzy edges. It's really the best way to do cutouts, and now that you know how to use the pen tool, that's a key component with it. The way it works, you're going to be working from Photoshop to cut out images. If you need some practice with the pen tool, you should go back and do those templates, but I'm just going to use this moon as an example first to show you how to create a clipping path. You start with the pen tool, make sure you have path chosen up here, and you see you also have a paths palette that you can reference that you'll need to go to as well. So when doing circles, remember you pull up those anchors. The nice thing about the pen tool is you can fix the way any of your paths look if you need it. So I can go in here and edit these anchor points as I create my shape. So obviously as I do this last curve here, I notice that this one needs some work still. I can fix that bottom curve and fix this top curve a bit. Okay, now my circle is looking pretty nice. As you see, a path is created. Once you complete your path, you should have a little gray area in there, and you can do a few things once the path is there. You can pull out here, fill it with a solid color, put a stroke on it, make it into a selection, which is typically what I end up doing. It will do the opposite of your selection, so I like to inverse then and say on my layers palette, create a mask for it, and then it will mask away everything you don't want there. The other component is the key to saving it too. So you can't save as a JPEG and keep a clear background. Only two that'll work are Photoshop. Actually, Photoshop, PNG, and TIFFs will work, but for printing purposes, you want to use either TIFF or Photoshop file when you're going to bring it to InDesign. So now that this is clear, I'll save it as a Photoshop document, and once I bring it over to InDesign and place it in, that background will no longer be there. So it's a nice, clean cutout of the moon. So a little bit more advanced features just to show you in InDesign. If you have seen this advertisement before, that's what you're going to try to create. There's two steps to this: cutting out the Play logo and cutting out Pharrell, then merging them together. This text will all be put together in InDesign. So I've got the two files, the Google Play logo, the Pharrell picture. I've got a path already created of these two, as you can see here. I'm going to create a new document to bring them together onto, so it's just a blank space there. First thing I'll do, since I've already made this path, select it, turn it into a selection. Okay, inverse that selection and create a clipping mask for it. Now I can take this layer and I can send it to that other file that I just made. Okay, so it's there now. Do the same thing with my Google Play logo. Again, when you have the path created, you select the path, make selection, inverse that selection, and create a mask for it. Then you can send this to the other file. Okay. The trick with this one is he's got a solid color behind him, but then also he's cut out in certain parts where the Play logo's at. So we got to work that into the design. First thing you want to do, move this one behind here, right? We're going to want to scale this Play logo down a bit so that it's going to fit better into my design. We'll move Pharrell where he needs to go. Somewhere about there. Ooh, this Play logo needs to go smaller still, or he needs to get larger. So he's got to be hanging over the top, hanging off the side a bit, and then cut off from the bottom. That's pretty good like that. When you have a layer like this, you can command click on the layer itself and it'll select everything on that layer. So what I want to do is fill this in with a solid color, not that background that's there. I actually think I can just eyedrop on this Pharrell picture, maybe not. But let's just say I want to fill it with solid blue. Pick any color that you want to fill this play logo with. Okay. And you may want to put the solid blue on a new layer. Fill it with the color that you want it to go to. Okay. And the rest of it now is just kind of cutting out the spots where you want it to cut out. So I have this selection made. I want to inverse, so it's selecting the opposite. Then I can go to this layer and start masking away those spots that need to go. So I can say, okay, I know these will be cut out from these bottom areas so that it looks like those Google Play logos look. And then I can get rid of my selection. So I did that all on the Pharrell layer mask so that it looks like he's masked away from that area. The next step would be just saving this and placing it into InDesign to put the text in there. So I'd save this now. I'm going to save it as Pharrell Final. And again, the two files it would work, Photoshop and TIFF. Save it to the desktop. And now when I go to InDesign, let's say I want to do it on this file. I put a nice little white texture back there. I can place that file in. And then work in my text after that. Okay. If you notice any, looks like I've kind of have some leftover there. One nice little feature is you can open up the original by clicking on Edit With. Sometimes it's hard to see if you're erasing everything that you're supposed to be erasing on that layer. So you may need to go back and fix that. Sometimes I'll put a colored background on there for the time being just so I can see everything looks good before I go and erase everything. But that's clipping paths. Good luck trying to make that work.